What's up, Internet? What's going on? Yeah, super late to the brand new show, and if you can't tell, I am super pissed off right now. Chips, come here. Come on. Come on. We're gonna get two dogs. Come on. Come on. Up. 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 All right. Lay down, Biddy. All right. I got super needy dogs right now. What's up, everybody? How's it going? I got all this stuff edited. I got all this stuff rendered. And here we are back in the studio. And now video playback is not working. So I don't know why that won't work. I just had to redo basically. So I got everything ready for the typical show here. And everything rendered, everything ready to go, and then I went to go open XSplit like I normally do. XSplit is the program that I use here for broadcasting with, and nothing will play back on any of the stuff that I rendered today. I'm going to run over to the scene here and give you guys an idea that I can click through the video. The video plays on the computer, but it doesn't play back on XSplit for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why the new XSplit won't play it back. So we had to redo XSplit. XSplit's tripping. I don't know what's going on. I can't figure it out right now. We might as well just do the show and say hi. What? What is going on? Why is everything broken right now? The dogs are freaking out. I don't know what's going on. What's up, everybody? Happy to be here, at least to try and make this work. And, yeah, I don't know why. Everything worked perfectly when I left and was gone working for 2 days. As you guys know, I was up at the aquarium coop, and I come back home, and now it's not playing back. I don't know why. My guess would be, I don't know, my guess would be as good as anybody's. I got everything loaded in the typical way that I got it always loaded in, and for some reason now that doesn't work. I don't know, and just basically running out of time, so we might as well do the show and say hi to everybody here and at least chat it up with you guys and answer some questions in the meantime. Sorry, I don't have a video. It's not playing back, so I mean I can even check this out. I can go to scene 5 and I can give you guys a preview of what the new video looks like for the patronizers, but it won't play. And I can't figure out why it's doing that. And I don't know. Oh. Wait, now it's playing. Oh, hold on. Maybe I'll be able to go back here. Hold on a second. I'm going to switch around scenes. This is going to be crazy. Let me see here. It's the sound? Oh, you stupid thing. All right, figured it out midstream. Okay, well, we'll be able to come back to the video segment in a little bit. Somehow I just figured it out. Apparently the sound setting had something to do with it. It was set on, hold on, let's go back here. All right, I want to go back here because I want to do this part with the and play this part for the top patronizers out there, because I can't play it later, so I want to do it right now. But let me do this, and then you guys will know I'm actually here. I'll just be up here in the corner. How about this? Upper left-hand corner, that's where I'm at. Okay, and for right now, the chat will just be, I'll just be talking about the chat and stuff. All right, somehow I figured it out. I got it to work. I don't have any. I don't have a technical guy that can figure it out while I'm live. I don't have a Jimmy. I don't have anybody like that that can come help try and figure it out. So, but we figured it out, and at least I can say hi to the first people in the chat, which I had to reload the chat and everything. So I did lose your guys' comments, but I know that it was Frank Dominguez was first to the chat. Quickly followed by Turbofish, I believe Sarah Konopko, a couple other people, but JC's Tanks is here, Phil Emerson and whatnot. But I'm glad that everybody's here. I'm going to try and read the chat for a second here and try and catch up what's going on. as I was saying, I mad technical difficulties today here to get the get everything to work right, but we got it going now, and I guess it was just I had to just click an audio button. I guess it was it wanted to play back the stream audio or something. I'm not sure. Woo, that was frustrating, but. I think we got it figured out one way or another. 15 minutes late. Now it's 4:20. Oh, bro. So all right, I think we got it figured out. But let's hop into the chat here really and see what's going on. And Frank is back safe. It's glad to see Frank is back. I don't think Frank went anywhere. I think Frank was just, he's probably working a new schedule, would be my guess if I had to guess. Let's see. But I'll answer some of the chat questions here. I wanted to run through this Patreon video here a couple times. Why isn't it? There we go. This is just our top, that's our top patronizers there. Bracken Ward, Tim Lewis, Steven Skoglund, Priscilla MK. Oh, Priscilla MK, I wonder if she's in the chat. I think I saw Steven and a couple other people, but this is the new Patreon video, which will be inserted in the big screen with all the video and all that stuff once I can figure out why the playback was screwed up. Which welcome to my life sometimes, and that's just the reality of it, right? All right. So as you guys see from the title, we're going to be talking about Proserpinaca palustrus, commonly referred to as the mermaid weed. So from here on out in the video, we'll just call it mermaid weed because it's much easier to say and people can figure out. They go like, oh man, that's the street name. I get it. So we'll just call it mermaid weed from here on out, and then people won't be like, what's he talking about? What's a Proserpinacas, you know? And then we'll be like, ah, cool. Then people will get it. So luckily, the sound is good here. Thankful to our good sound setup nowadays. As you guys know, we got the Shure mic and all that kind of stuff going on here, which has been an ongoing thing. Hello. Hello. Hi, Vicky Torres here. She's home early from work, you guys. What's up? You're live on the internet.
Hello, internet.
There's 84 people watching you right now.
Whoa.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Good to see you, hon.
Good to see you too.
Okay. So from here on out, we'll just talk about it with mermaid weed. Vicky is here. I'm not sure what she's doing. Maybe she'll come on. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I don't have another mic set up, so I was too busy messing with all the ins and outs that were going on. Maybe I could get one set up in a short amount of time while the show is going on. So I don't know. Maybe I'll be able to do it. I'm not sure. So okay, let's answer a couple of questions out of the chat here. Jimmy Brown says XSplit equals evening of expletives for Joel. That's right. Oftentimes, this program gives me problems. JS Aqua Stuff is asking, you don't like OBS? No, I don't like OBS. I don't like OBS mainly because honestly, OBS has more problems than XSplit. At some point in time, I'll probably switch over to Wirecast or something along those lines. But in the meantime, XSplit's kind of the best program in my budget. As you guys know, I'm fairly poor and can't really afford anything better. And OBS, in my opinion, and this is just an opinion, you know, it works great for some people. It's never even lived up to the XSplit standard, which, by the way, I do pay for. This is not the free one. This is not the free version, but I do pay for the XSplit. It's, you know, obviously it's more money than free, and it is money out the window every month, but it generally has less problems. More often than not, when it does have problems is when it updates something like right now, because when I go to open the program is when it decides to update and goes like, oh, hey, we've got updates for you. And you're like, could you maybe update this at like 2 in the morning or something when nothing is going on? Why is you updating right now when I open the program? So that's really one of those issues. And then oftentimes the updates will sort of like unclick settings, basically. That's the one thing that is bad with it. And honestly, I think if it was operator situation, I would say it's generally an operator situation where I could, you know, I could open the program earlier. Here comes Mickey. I could open the program earlier and just try and get in the habit of doing that earlier in the day. So if it is going to, if it's going to update or anything like that, then I would get the updates before the show starts. But I'm so much in the habit of just like, yeah, let me just open this thing up 10 minutes before we get rocking and rolling, and then it's like, oh hey, we have updates for you. It's like, oh man, what is going on? And since Vicky Toria decided to wander in here, I have to get her a microphone. Nah.
Oh, is that a new camera?
You don't want a microphone?
Oh.
This is the same camera we've been using. It's the Logitech Brio.
Oh.
Let me see where you're at. Where are you? You're not over there. You're over here. What are you doing over there? Now I got to configure the camera. Hold on. Hold on. Well, I have to configure the camera. So, well, you keep telling me I'm fine, but I have to configure the camera. Let's see. Burp. Pan. Tilt. All right. Is that? Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. And then we'll move you a little bit like that. How's that?
Okay.
Is that okay for you? All right. Well, Vicky's here, everybody, so say hi to Vicky. And so not only were we super late, but now Vicky's here, and we are midstream, trying to midstream do everything. So we're trying to do everything during the show. Woo!
Yeah.
Yes, it's been a bit of a chaotic day, and one of the main reasons I'll explain that also is that, as you guys know, I've been doing work up at the Aquarium Co-op, working on getting the studio going there today. So, or not today, but over the last week, and that will be continuing over the next weeks. And so, as you guys know, I often shoot video. As a YouTuber, I often shoot video of the stuff that we're working on. And, what?
You shoot video as a
No,
YouTuber?
I don't. No, not at all. Now I don't know what was I talking about. Oh yeah. So, as you guys know, so working on someone else's project, like oftentimes you guys don't get a chance to see some of the construction stuff I do because I can't necessarily be shooting a bunch of video where I'm at oftentimes. So, but up at Corey's place at the aquarium coop, it's okay if I shoot behind the scenes stuff, which basically means I took my camera up there and set it up in some cool spots to get some behind the scenes footage and all that kind of stuff to be able to bring to you guys at a later date, because I can't be doing it right now. And like a real smart cookie, I put all the stuff in my truck, set my camera and my notes. So all my production notes are sitting right next to my camera in Corey's shop, which is 65 miles from here and a whole bunch of traffic. And let me tell you something, if I had remembered when I was near up there, I would have just turned around and grabbed it. But I remembered about 3 miles from my house, I went, I don't think I grabbed my camera. So it would have been another 4-hour round trip to go get it. So today I've been shooting with my old cameras. So today's video, you will have to bear with me because my old cameras, it's not that my old cameras are bad. They are just older cameras. So they don't necessarily shoot as high quality as the 80D, as you guys know, was quite the pretty penny to get the 80D here, and I use it all of the time. It is vastly different than the M2 and the SL1 that I shoot with, that I used to shoot with. So, a crash course in some old cameras that I don't use anymore. And to give you an idea, it's like pretty much on the older cameras, everything's backwards from all the controls are way different. Like the M2 only has buttons on it. It doesn't have any aperture wheels or any of that kind of stuff on it. You actually just have to like use the touchscreen and the buttons and stuff. So this guy right here was doing his best to shoot today on like auto settings and stuff. And then I recolorized everything as best I could. Then I went to render it into a video, and there was some. So right in the middle of it, there was a corrupt frame, which caused the rendering to hang. So I was just staring at the render percentage thing while it was at 39% for like a good extra 8 minutes or something. I'm like, ew, something's wrong here. So I had to reload it, re-edit it, and so now the video actually is a little bit, it's darker than it should be. So that's to give a little bit of explanation on some portions of how my day is going. That sort of seems like everything's doing the same thing that like XSplit was doing. It's like, I work, but you know. And so some people in the chat there have definitely come over from the Aquarium Co-op, which is fantastic. Thank you very much. It's great to see some new faces around here. I know that people are pretty interested in what's going on with the co-op, and luckily we're sort of in conjunction with Corey having hit 100,000 subscribers yesterday. You hit the 100,000 mark, which I got to do it over here. That is a huge milestone, and super stoked. I saw a lot of people were super jazzed for it on like Facebook and stuff like that. People were posting about I think they stayed up. I think some people stayed up last night to actually watch the live ticker go up to 100,000, which is awesome. It's cool to see how many people were super stoked about it. I'm super stoked about it. I know that Corey was. He was joking with me earlier about how, well, now it's time to go into retirement. So I figure he's probably going to go into retirement. You know, sounds about appropriate. But needless to say, we are up there working on the studio, building out fish tank stands, and a bunch of other interesting things that I'm not going to mention exactly what we're doing until you guys can actually just get to see it instead of just talking about it. But just to say that progress is coming along fantastically. It will be, we did kind of heighten our timeline, so actually I'm going to be up there more days. So people that are used to this show, it's going to be a little bit goofy coming up over the next couple weeks, because you might not get the video segments that we're used to and whatnot, but we will have guests because it'll basically be me and Corey, because I do have an obligation to you guys to showing up Monday through Friday, 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So Corey is more than gracious to come on and spend his time with us chatting about stuff and answering your guys' questions and those kinds of things, which is it's pretty cool to get an opportunity to work with somebody who's willing to do that, you know, instead of me having to necessarily like try to get out at a job site at like 4 in the morning and try and get out of there by 2 in the afternoon to shoot, you know, I don't know how that would work. Or this show would end up being back at like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock like it used to be. So I don't think that works for a lot of people. It doesn't work for Vicky. She doesn't like that idea. And if she doesn't like that idea, then that generally means that most people don't like that idea. Now, one of the reasons that I say that I'm obligated to make this show is I just posted in the chat right there. Right. Hold on. Wait for it. Oh, pick my own nose. Is the Patreon. If you haven't checked out the Patreon, go check out the Patreon. That's how we're sort of funding all the gas money and the crazy internet connection that we have to pay for, microphones, cables, wires, cameras, all this kind of stuff, upgrading system, paying for just the software to run everything. That's how we're doing it. And I'm super enthusiastic about it. We're up to 148 patrons. We just got one during the show. Whoa. We actually had a couple more earlier today, and you guys will actually show up in next month's Patreon video. Basically, I normally have a screen roll that works that we played at the beginning here. That's normally in the video segment, but I'll have to figure out how to overlay that later and not try to do it live. But that said, the Patreon is how we do this kind of thing. Otherwise, you go to darkstararts.com, click through the Amazon banner and all that kind of stuff. There is an Amazon wish list and stuff if you're like Cute Nicks and you want to buy us another monitor so I don't have to get migraines from that one over there, which totally kudos. This one is from Cute Nicks. The one that I work on and edit on now is from Cute Nicks, one of our fans. And so there's the Amazon wish list, and so somebody was asking me, they were like, hey, what's it going to take to upgrade your camera? So I threw a couple of the cameras on there just to give people an idea of the kind of crazy cheese that goes in to acquiring camera gear and stuff like that. So there is a couple of there's a couple of cameras on there to give you guys an idea of what kind of money I've put into this, what kind of money like Vicky has put into this to doing this project and stuff like that. So I know it's come up occasionally that people are like, I don't understand why you want me to fund your thing, and it's like, well, you don't have to. You're not obligated to do that. We have a lot of people that super chat and all that kind of stuff, but you don't have to. You can always go to the Patreon and post in the community post there. You just have to have an account, and then or maybe you're somebody who only has an email address or something like that, and only have like a YouTube account. You could always message me on YouTube, or you could go over to darkstararts.com and find my email there. My email is joel@darkstararts.com. Pretty simple. So if you have any questions or any of that kind of stuff, you could throw them there, and it don't cost you nothing. Woo! All right. I feel like I got through the sales pitch. Is that the sales pitch? I don't know. I try to do it in a relatable way of like, here's what's going on. This somebody's asking if this is Mr. Chips. No, this is Miss Beatty Browns.
Miss Brown.
This is the Miss Beatty Brownwin Browns. Mr. Chips, I hear him somewhere. Hey.
He's right behind you.
Stop looking. Come here. Come here, buddy.
Say hi to Daddy.
Come on. All right. Oh, he's good. Oh, he's so heavy. He's so heavy. Oh. Can you get up here on camera? Mr. Chips. This is Mr. Chips. He's our good old buddy here. Oh, and he's a good boy. I always try to tell Frank to take him out on walks and stuff when we're not here. And I don't know if he's been doing it or not, because, these dogs been looking like they've been eating some cookies, if you know what I'm saying. Lovely little doggies. You go party over there, bud. Yeah. That's why occasionally if I got the camera set up in here, you'll notice the dog beds are in here. Mainly on the days that I'm here. They when I'm working in the office, they'll be in the office here normally chilling out, and then when I go outside and like feed the chickens and mess around with those, we go out there and we have a doggy party in the backyard. And Miss Biddy Brown does not like it in the fish room that much, but Mr. Chips will come hang out in the fish room for a little while. I don't think he likes sitting on the cold concrete, honestly, so because it's all concrete floor in there. And I don't think he likes hanging out in the cold concrete for that long. He kind of just does the like, hey man, don't you know this is cold sitting here on my butt? And yeah. So if he can sit on like a rug or one of my old jackets or something like that. Like I normally keep a hoodie out there that I'll throw on the floor for him so he can chill out on a hoodie. He's kind of an old dog, so he doesn't unless we're going up to the top of a mountain. They don't have quite the stamina. But the funny thing is they'll make it to the top of the mountain, and then we got to carry them back down. Not so enthusiastic on the way down, doggies. You know, doggies with the short legs, right? All right. Did you see any questions in there that I should answer while you're reading the chat there? What do you got?
Well, there was lots of questions.
Worth answering, or what? What do you got?
Oh, they were ways back.
Oh, okay. Well, here's what I'm going to do, okay? I'm going to use this mouse, and I'm going to go over to this scene here, right? I'm going to this one, scene 3, with the video. Now, the video will play. I'm going to talk about that, babe, and you find some questions over here that you really want to answer. Does that make sense?
People were asking about my tank and my shrimp and my necklace.
Okay. All right. So, okay. Well, as I mentioned earlier, what are you doing?
Sorry.
Can you say that?
Proserpinaca palustrus. Proserpinaca. Proserpinaca
Yes.
palustrus.
Palustrus. That was pretty good. You did a fine job. I pronounce it mermaid weed. The street name for this one is mermaid weed, so if you do see somebody talking about mermaid weed or whatever, that's what you're looking for. So we'll just give you a quick idea looking at the video here. I got 2 shots, so I've got an above shot and I've got an in the tank shot, so hopefully as we go through this one, as we go through this video, hopefully that sort of makes some sense to you. Like I said, it did come out a little bit dark. I'm not used to using these cameras all that much anymore, and don't think I did a great job on my exposure and whatnot, but I think it's good enough that you guys will be able to get a good interpretation of what's happening. Apparently, not much is happening in this part of the video right here. What's going on here? All right, well, yeah, I'm doing something there. Seem to be clowning around in the dark. What's he doing? I don't know. But this front portion of the 240 here needs a little bit of a different plant, mainly because as the Monte Carlo is growing in slowly as ever, mind-bendingly slow. And on the right-hand side there, all that dwarf chainsword and whatnot is going in, is slowly spreading into the space, and it is far too small in conjunction with this driftwood. This driftwood is over 24 inches tall, and a lot of parts of it actually do stick out of the top of the tank. So one of the problems with that perspective is that if I have these real long plants in the back, some real short plants in the middle, and then these like 2-inch tall plants right next to the short plants, it won't look great once it's grown in. So my intention over time was to most likely add some Ludwigia here. I am really short on Ludwigia, which I got a great reminder of that when Olympia Shrimps was posting pictures of her tank on the community page on the Patreon, and I realized, oh my, I really need to get some Ludwigia back in my tanks. Where is it? Right here. There, check that out. It's looking good, right? That looks good. I realized I need to get some Ludwigia in my tanks, but I did have this mermaid weed that did need to get planted. And it was sort of at the point where the pot was kind of starting to choke out the ends of the stems, and it was becoming really important to get it moved out of the sump. I don't normally leave certain plants in the sump for all that long, because they will eventually have a problem if they're like still in the pot in the sump. Sometimes there's a lot of plants I do have down there that are floating and stuff like that, but if they're in the pot in the sump, generally I will end up encountering some problems with stem rot and things along those lines. So it was really time to move this pot up here and not wait any longer. And I figured, hey, you know what? This mermaid weed will actually do really well mixed in with this mixed in with this driftwood sort of tree feature, whatever you want to call it, in the middle here. And I can generally keep it pretty well trimmed at a nice kind of medium height without a lot of hassle and headache and stuff like that. One thing I will mention about this plant is that it does take quite a while to really adapt to a water environment. So it is one that does require a lot of patience. And if you are somebody like me that does have a sump, one of the opportunities of this that you could do with this plant is, like, for instance, if you bought it from a store and you brought it home and you're like, wow, I've really got to convert this from the immersed grown sort of green version to try and get it into the more spiky red version. That will grow underwater under some nice medium or high light. You could actually plant it in some substrate in your sump if you have some good lights in the sump, and allow it to convert down there before you moved it up into the display portion of the tank to avoid some of that die-off or the long period of time that it takes for it to convert. Luckily, this has started to convert, so I'm basically I'm starting at the middle point, essentially, the middle point of where it wants to be, so that it is starting to convert. Val's Albo is asking, Vicky, do you have your own personal tank, or are they all Joel's? No, Vicky's tank is the one on the left. She currently has a 75-gallon with lace rock and a ton of Anubias and a couple other things. What else is in there? Some Java moss.
The lace plant.
Oh, the Madagascar lace. That thing's starting to take off. Aponogeton. Aponogeton. I like to call it Aponogeton because English is my first language, but a lot of people call it Aponogeton.
And somebody was asking about the, oh my God.
What?
My brain is going blank. The plants that you put in.
Oh, I put some crypts and...
Yeah, the crypts. How the crypts are doing.
Put some crypts, cryptocrine, wind, deadeye, and a couple other things in there.
Crypts are doing well.
Crypts are doing well.
Was asking about my shrimp. I still haven't seen the blue shrimp. I think they didn't make it.
I don't know what happened to those blue shrimp. You put them in there when I was out of town. I was in Chicago for the aquatic experience, and the aquatic experience Chicago, and then
the heater broke.
And then the heater broke, which is probably their demise. Because if I had to guess one thing, I don't understand why these pants are they're like riding up. The pants keep riding up on me. Yeah, so she did have some blue shrimp. She's got some crebensis in there. She's got some bristlenose plecos, actually from Potato down in. I want to call it Marlboro.
Marlboro.
What's their township called? Do you remember?
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Outside of Portland.
Yeah.
I always call it Marlboro.
Yeah, and my vampire shrimp that I haven't seen either. But
yeah, the vampire shrimp's in there. One of them's in there at least, for sure.
I have two, but I'm not sure if the other one made it.
Oh, Hillsboro.
Hillsboro.
I always say Marlboro.
Marlboro.
People are gonna wonder if I'm drinking from two different coffee cups, and you'd be right.
That's why we're running out of creamer.
Gangster. What? This is half and half. Try it.
Ew.
Yeah, it's not your creamer.
If I drink coffee after 3 o'clock, it keeps me up.
Keeps you up all night. So let's see here. Somebody was asking how my truck is. My truck is an old truck, and somebody rammed into it with their car. So my truck's not doing great. I keep calling my insurance company. My truck's still running fine. I can drive it around and stuff like that. The frame is mangled. I can't pull my trailer anymore, and I can't fix it either until I find out what is going on with the insurance thing. So that's the thing that's really kind of frustrating me right now as far as that truck goes. It's like, I understand that it got hurt. It got crashed into. It's not that big of a deal. I would fix it, but I can't even figure out what the insurance is doing because they won't even call me back and tell me what to do or what's going on. So I'm a little bit perturbed, and now I'm going to get my insurance agent, which is a separate entity, to just start calling them for me. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe that will inspire them to do something. I don't know. Jim Meeker says to click the like button. I guess that's very important. All the cool kids are doing it. Manny Carolio says, my wife keeps saying she wants to do Vicky's makeup. We both work for Mac. I'd rather be Joel's assistant. Well, you know, if you guys are in the area, that might work. I don't know if we have to fly somewhere to get our makeup done. Can I get my makeup done?
Yeah.
My freshness. Bring it. Bring in my freshness. I appreciate the offer, Manny. That's pretty cool. Let's see. How many dogs do we have? We have 2 dogs. We actually have 2 dogs. They were both here, Mr. Chips and Miss Biddy Bronwyn Browns. Oh, Mr. Chips looks unimpressed. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Aquarium Cowboy had to go, but bye. Thanks for 234. I appreciate it. Have a great night. I don't know what that means, but okay. Donald Edwards says that toothpick looks unsafe while talking and drinking. You're probably right, but it won't cut my thumb off, so I'll probably be in relative safety. Let's see. How many tanks does everyone own? Aha! Ooh, look at all these people. All these people own a bunch of tanks. Look at that. Manny Carolio says, I'm about to complete Planet Tank number 1, just waiting for the rest of my plants to arrive. Longtime fish keeper, but mainly larger cichlids. Oh, that was one thing I noticed. I noticed earlier from the chat was, I think Kevin Keener was talking about it, and a couple other people were saying that like cichlids were what brought them to the hobby. And I have to say that that seems to be very, very, very common out there. Just how many people started keeping cichlids and then went like, okay, where can I go from here? So there's one recommendation I always have for people that maybe you know somebody who has like a cichlid tank or something like that, to always show them a planted tank and that this is what you could be doing, dude. Or gal. I guess I always call everybody dude. Bruh.
Hey, man.
Hey, man. What you doing, man? Right? Let's see. Somebody had a reef question, but I lost it in the chat. That went away. But, all right. So, anyhow, talking about let's get back to talking about the mermaid weed. This is another one of those plants that is going to chew up a fair bit of potassium, so you definitely want to keep that in mind. And I'm trying to think, because I was thinking, what? Nice typing skills, bruh. Okay, I keep typing the wrong thing in here. There. And it will chew up a lot of nitrate also. I was trying to remember if... so, mermaid weed actually is a pretty good... it is a pretty good plant that... that will actually tear through nitrate pretty rapidly. It is one that will pull a ton of that out of the water column. So maybe if you do have like an overstock tank or something like that, this is a good plant to propagate if you can propagate it pretty rapidly or ahead of time. That actually is a good thing, that if you're going to go, I got a tank, I'm going to put a large school in it, something like that, that I'm going to have to feed a lot. So if you have a situation where you have a type of fish where you feed a lot, you have a lot of nitrates, maybe you're somebody who has nitrate that comes from your water changes. That has been coming up recently as we've been learning more and more about, even just in the United States, more of the water coming out of the taps, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of the water coming out of the taps in the United States has a lot of nitrates in it, so this is a good plant to add to your aquarium if you have a bit of an ongoing nitrate problem, or you just want to have more of a stock tank, or if you wanted to have kind of a messier fish, like maybe a puffer or something along those lines. It's a great plant for that. It does use up quite a bit, but remember if that you will run into potassium dosing problems if you're not dosing potassium on top of that, or you run into plant propagating problems and stuff like that. If you want to remember to dose some potassium, a little bit here and there will do, and it doesn't need to get super technical or anything like that. What happened?
I'm gonna go feed dogs.
Oh, you're just gonna go feed dogs?
Yep.
Okay. I love you.
Love you too. Your reef question popped back up.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, see you later, Vicky. Get out of here. So that is something that I would definitely keep in mind, is that as some people are saying in the chat, like Mary Beth, or sorry, Barbara Jackson, I thought Mary Beth was saying that, mine has some nitrates and quite a lot of ammonia and chloramines. So you could actually eliminate the chloramines pretty easily with either some Safe or Prime. I personally use Safe myself. I find it to be a lot more economical in my world. Then the other side of it is that some of that ammonia, nitrate, and things like that, it always sounds scary to people, but it actually is fairly added benefit to planted aquariums. Actually, just the main thing that you'd want to do if you do have a water tap that is coming out like that, and that's what you're using for your water changes, you just want to do like 20% water changes and stuff like that. And instead of doing like really big water changes, I would just do some smaller water changes. And that's the direction that I would go if my water column was or not my water column, my tap water, or whatever you want to call it, whatever I was using to do my water changes with. That's what I would bear in mind. Just do some smaller changes like that, and the plants will actually just be chewing that up for you. So Charlie's list was saying, what's the plant look like? Pics? Well, I guess I don't have any pics of. I don't have any pictures of it. I did get some up-close shots, but I couldn't edit them into the video. As I mentioned earlier, the video segment was quite a problem. I ended up going late onto the stream here because of just ongoing issues. One of the weird things with I'm not using my normal camera today. My normal cameras, I'm using my really old cameras because I left mine up at another project working up at the aquarium co-op. I forgot my camera up there, so things were a little bit goofy. To get everything going today, and the stills didn't quite make it in there. But needless to say, I will be updating this over time, and we'll definitely get some better shots of it for you and stuff like that. You know, sorry to not have any of the close pics. Maybe I'll be able to actually, what I will do, I'll go after the show, I'll go out to the garage, I'll go out to the fish room and get some shots, and I'll post a good one up on the Patreon, and you guys can check that out. Maybe that seems like a good middle ground here because I didn't quite get it into the video. I'm not exactly 100% in my work rhythm today. Was a little wonky. Having been working up north for the last couple days, and things just kind of went a little awry. I mean, it was a monkey wrench and a gear in the works. A monkey wrench right into the gears. I think that pretty much kind of sums it up today. Let me see here. We do have a super chat that I gotta answer here from Eric Gone Mad. What's up, man? I remember my grandfather's black angelfish tank. He got rid of them before I was 2 years old. I have had tanks in my life since I can remember. Oh, right on. That's awesome. Actually, I think I was talking about that last week. That when I was a kid, I had the Fred goldfish tanks, and I had chameleons, and I had turtles. I'm trying to think. I have dogs, obviously. I'm trying to think of any of the other real critters that I was taking care of when I was a kid. I mean, other than, you know, the typical, like, my buddy squirrels and all that kind of stuff. All that kind of nonsense. But that is awesome. You know, when I was a kid, my dad had fish tanks when I was really little, and then we moved to a brand new house, and my dad didn't have any fish tanks. Dan Squire said Fred 1, Fred 2, and Fred 3. That's right. Yeah, I had the Fred. They just kept getting different numbers behind him. You know, it's like Fred the Fourth. So let's see here. Is it because you're working alone? Sort of. Not sure, Fuzzy. It's because I was up working at the aquarium co-op, and like I said, I forgot my camera there on location, and it's a 2-hour drive one way, so it's a 4-hour round trip to go pick up my camera. And on top of it, I've been doing other stuff for the last couple of days, so I've just been in the real construction mode, building things and doing that kind of stuff. So I just haven't really been in the mode of doing my workflow, which is, you know, responding to all my emails, getting back to all the people, working on new art project layouts, you know, stuff like that that's going on in the background. And I just was a little bit out of rhythm today, you know, realistically. So things are just a little monkey wrench right into the show and everything like that. But I guess for some people out there, we'll just run a little bit long on the show. So I guess it's not the worst thing ever. I guess it could be worse. There could be something worse. Phil's telling me just to breathe for a minute. Yeah, everything will be fine. Everything will work out. I just, you know, I'm really one of those people that will just get audibly cranky if things aren't working properly. It's like, come on, man. Like, but it'll be all right. It'll be all right. Dan Squires just posted onto the Patreon. Where was I? Oh, that was at 411. 411. I was wondering where I was at. We were having technical difficulties, so let's see. Keel Quigley, I bought a 10-gallon out of Rebellion because I was told I couldn't have fish. Had tanks ever since. Ooh. Oh, that actually is, I like that. That's my kind of Rebellion that I'm all about right there. That actually makes a whole heck of a lot of sense to me. I would have done something like that myself. Just go ahead and get whatchamacallit. I would have just bought my own tank. Like, I'm doing this. I like that. Moving the mic around. I like to move the mic around during the show, right? Just it's a matter of professionalism. Like, I'll put it way up here. How about that? Oop. You gotta get the cable. Now we'll go up to the top. Be super loud up here. Yeah. But so let's see here. We did have a question. So I think what we'll do is I don't see many people having too many questions about this plant. So screw it. I'm just going to start answering your guys' questions from the chat. And where did it go? Let's see. Joseph Lebeau is asking, Joel, what are your favorite artists? Your art has a Salvador Dali and Ralph Steadman feel. I would say Ralph Steadman is definitely one of my heroes, but I can't do his style. His style is intensely awesome and incredibly unique. I love his style. Actually, a buddy of mine does some art that really is sort of like, in my opinion, sort of like the next generation of Ralph Steadman. It's pretty darn good. But Salvador Dali, I appreciate some of his artwork, but he wasn't really that great of a guy, so it's difficult to equate with him, just with all the weirdness that he kind of had going on in his life. But MC Escher is definitely somebody who is really entertaining to me. God, there's just such a long list of them, of artists, that it's kind of, it would be hard to really like dial them down to one. I mean, it's like, do you go Picasso? You know, do you go Picasso because his stuff was so influential, you know? And then it's like, well, then do you start talking about Michelangelo because he was so influential? But that's kind of one of those things that would be hard for me to really quantify in a real effective manner. So, but yes, those are some definitely that I guess I would put on the list. Oh, and Charlie List's got to go. Bye, everyone. Okay, sorry. All right, Charlie, see you later. Let's see. How about doing art in your own way? Oh, well, I do in my own way, but we're all influenced by other artists. I mean, we have to admit that. You know, it's like... but I would say I'm mostly influenced by writers. Writers would be the thing that I'm most influenced by. Reading and art. Reading affect my art significantly, more so than just seeing other people's art and stuff like that. Right. Have you ever seen any of Chet Zar and Michael Hassar's work? It's pretty insane. Let me see here. Tell you what I can do. I can look that up real quick. No, I've never seen Chet Zar before. Let's look at Michael Hassar and see if I know who Michael Hassar is. I think I've seen some of Michael Hassar's stuff. Like I've seen a couple of these paintings before somewhere. Yeah, pretty interesting stuff. A little weird. Maybe maybe kids don't look that up. Dan Squire says Douglas Adams. Yes, Douglas Adams is a huge influence of mine. Let's see. I think I wouldn't put Douglas Adams at the top of the list. I would say growing up, Robert Jordan was probably the biggest influence, realistically. Because that Wheel of Time series never went away. It just never went away. I started reading it when I was pretty young, and then a book would come out like a year and a half later, and then a book would come out like a year and a half later, and then a book would come out like a year and a half later, and a book would come out like a year and a half later, and it just went on and on and on until he died, and then 2 more books came out to finish the series after he was dead. But Douglas Adams, I would definitely put up there, except he didn't have a ton of books. Let's see, the Stephen King's early stuff, like the Bachman series and all that kind of stuff, was definitely huge for me. Fahrenheit 451, Ender's Game, which actually became a really cool movie, finally, was one that was, when I was really young, was a big book for me. You know, Catcher in the Rye, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, all that kind of stuff. I pretty much just chewed through that. Basically, when I was in high school or whatever, I took they put me in an AP English class, and I'd already read all the books that they wanted to do in AP English. Yeah, so I always wanted to be a writer. It never really seemed like something that I could ever really quantify into something that I would realistically do personally. So it's something that I really enjoy doing. It's that's the biggest thing that I'm definitely would be influenced by, is writers and stuff like that, even especially in music and all of those things. And somebody was asking if I went to college. I went to college multiple times, so I don't have any big degrees or anything like that. I just always went to school so I could go. Let's see. Dan Squires is asking, what do you think of constant trickle of water instead of water changes, kind of like a slow running stream? That water change drip method actually does work fantastically. It really, really does. If you're in a position where you could set up one of your aquariums to do that, it is a fantastic system. I'm more or less, I'm going to be installing that in this summer, this up and coming summer. So about 6 months from now, somewhere along those lines, end of spring is when I'm going to be digging out the ponds and all that stuff here. The drip water change system is what is going to be installed in my fish room eventually. I didn't have time to do it when we're kind of slap and dash doing all the remodel here to get moved in and all that stuff. So it is on the list of what I'm going to do. So I would highly recommend it, Dan. It is definitely a really fantastic way to handle your water changes realistically. If it's something that you can do and you can plumb in and it not be a problematic situation, so like for instance, if you're okay, so here's a different example of it, but like the aquarium coop, his actually do it's not like a flush and fill, it'll just do a fill for like 10 or 20 minutes or however long he has it set for, I don't know. But he does just small daily water changes off of his. The drip method just kind of drips all day long and will eventually turn over the water throughout the whole week and stuff like that, and you end up with actually end up with water changes, full water changes by the end of the week. It does end up being a little bit of a savings if you have if you can do the math and make sure that you're not dumping more water than you would like dechlorinator and all that kind of stuff. But it definitely, because of the evaporation of... Hey, stop. Whatever you're doing down there is ridiculous. Sorry, the dog was down there licking the ground. What's the word? So because they're dripping, it's just dripping. You don't need to dechlorinate or any of that kind of stuff. Oftentimes you can skip on really doing any kind of fertilizer and stuff like that, because most water supplies are going to have a little bit of everything in there that's going to handle all of the most of the fertilization and stuff like that is needed, and then you could supplement a little bit of fertilization if you're finding out that you're coming low. But a drip water change, personally, in my opinion, is sort of the best situation that you could definitely hook up and get rocking and rolling. All right, guys. Well, we are coming up on the hour mark here, and I want to replay. That's the wrong one. Let's click this button. There we go. Let's start it from the beginning. Who's at the beginning? Boom! I gotta move me out of the way. There we go. I'll move me down into the corner again. Our top Patreon is Steven Skoglund. And then these are gonna get too strong after this. But Bracken Ward is one of our top Patreonizers. Tim Lewis, what's up, dude? Priscilla MK is one of our top patronizers now, along with the Aquarium Co-op, who's one of our sponsors too. Vince Grippa, Kieran Egan. Woo, had to sneeze. The fishy mailman, Long Woo. Joel Gillett. Iris Booth. Eric Kukan. I don't know how to say his last name. Gone mad. Barbara Jackson and Cute Nix. And I think that's it. Hold on. Second tier. Yeah. So if you want to get onto the top contributors and all of that kind of stuff, you can make your way onto this video segment by heading to the Patreon and becoming a contributor and that kind of stuff. We're coming up on the end of the show. I know that this was a little bit chaotic, and my apologies for that, but working with the best stuff that we got here on hand, and we'll just try to keep getting better and better. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Can I meet the expectations? Hopefully I can meet the expectations, and hopefully if like I said, if earlier, if I miss your questions or any of that kind of stuff, you can always send them in after hours. You can post them in up onto the Patreon page, or you could head over to darkstararts.com, email me from there, message me here, message me on Facebook, any of that kind of stuff. It's all available, and it's one of the I don't know. I think it's one of the cool things about the show is that you can head me in something ahead of time. Alrighty then, we're coming up on the end of the show. Thanks everybody for coming out today. Have a fantastic whatever day it is. I can't remember. Is it Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday. I don't know. Did we have a good Wednesday show? I think so. All right. Later.